Thanks everyone for coming to Watch Your Game, episode 30. We've now been going for 31 weeks because we did take a week off for Christmas to treat ourselves. We have seen over 65 projects at this point. I think you guys take us up to about 68 or 67. It's been going really well. Really excited for all the projects that we've been able to speak to. They're just coming in thick and fast now. I think we're booked all the way through till the end of February. So really appreciate the fact that these projects are coming up to talk to you guys about their game and give some of their precious time, even sacrificing their sleep. So that's really appreciated. Thanks for everyone for coming along and listening. If you like the games that you're hearing, make sure to follow them, jump in the Discord, do all the socials and all that sort of thing, so that you can keep up to date with what they're doing. I have had the pleasure of playing 2 of the games that we are talking to so far, so that should help me ask some relevant questions, because I do like to focus mainly on the gameplay. However, it is Web3, so we will touch NFT and tokens. We will just try not to fall down any rabbit holes, because I do accountancy during Web2 during the day, and I want to try and avoid as many numbers as possible, kind of on the night. I'm a host for the hour and a half. I do various bits of content across YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. So I will be slowly shilling myself through the pins as we go as well. I will be pinning stuff about the project to the top, so do keep an eye out up there for anything interesting I find as we go through. Pretty casual stage. Happy for anyone to come up and ask questions. It has to be directed at one of the projects. We've got 3 projects up this week, so we're going to try and avoid too much beard stroking about any philosophy to do with Web3, and we'll try and stay focused. There's plenty of other places where we can stroke our beards about how Web3 is going to be moving forward. I won't do my normal updates on games this week because we've got Double Jump coming back as an update as well, so I would have covered kind of some of their bits anyway. If you do have a question but you don't want to come up and speak, in the bottom right hand corner is the speech bubble where you can drop your questions, and I will read through those as we go, kind of asking the questions that you guys don't want to. And if you just want to throw your support down there and say, "Way, this is amazing," that is also a viable option. But without further ado, we will head over to Tearing Spaces. So if you could let us know who you are and what's your game.
All right, I am Alicia. I'm International General Manager at Sino Global Games. Dermot is also at Sino Global Capital and Sino Global Games. Tearing Spaces is the first game coming out of Sino's incubator and accelerator. We are working on an entirely different arm of Sino Global Capital, and this is our flagship game, the first one we're going to release. We have 4 that are about as ready as Tearing Spaces is right now, but this is the one that we started with. We're going to get it out. It's a 3v3 PvPvE MOBA style game with anime characters and a lot of a pretty good, really good game loop that is fun and social. Dermot, take it away.
I think you covered the main points.
What did I forget?
Yeah, we've finished our closed alpha, closed beta. We've done an open tournament, which you participated in, by the way, and thank you very much. Next step will be our open beta, which will be the crypto test version, and then we will be going full launch after that. We'll be aiming for mobile as well in probably around the start of Q2. And lots of cool things on the roadmap.
Okay, I was elsewhere on my mobile. I did expect you to finish. No, I have had to go of it, and I did enjoy it. We entered a team from the What's Your Game Discord, and we won one, and then got absolutely destroyed by a team later on. But they had played 50 plus games together, whereas we'd played maybe 2. So that is my excuse, and I'm going to stand by it. It was very enjoyable. For those who haven't had a chance to look at any of the videos or play it, like mentioned, it's kind of 3v3 kind of racing. I know when you sent me the first download through and it described itself as racing on the file, I was a bit suspect because I wasn't expecting a racing game, but it made sense.
Yeah.
like when I got into it.
We approached it from how can we make this as competitive and fun as possible. We'd seen enough boring turn-based kind of trading card style games, and we just wanted a bit of fun. So we said, okay, how can we beef up this competitive aspect? So, okay, battler, let's put a time limit on it. Let's race against each other while we battle. So that's that
And
was the plan.
I think that adds an interesting mechanic. So for those who've not seen it, it's like 3v3. So you've got two teammates. You get loads of specials, you get weapons, you get to pick your character, and you're fighting against PvE mobs and then bosses later on. And at the same time, another set of three people are fighting against the same dungeon, and you're kind of racing to see who can clear it first. But during the gameplay, you can actually teleport across to their track essentially, and then start trying to either put them off by just getting in the way or trying to kill them, which definitely adds an interesting mechanic. I know we, as a team, initially just ignored doing that, but then later on we were just getting stomped by people jumping across.
Yeah, crossing over the portals, kind of sabotage, can happen anytime. You kind of have to be on the lookout. So again, we're adding that dimensionality and adding that that kind of ounce of suspense in it, and surprise as well. So yeah, we were sick of boring games, and we wanted some fun games out there. So we're always open for feedback as well. Down the line, we'll be adding more game modes, more ideas. So it's only going to get better and more exciting, and probably more competitive. So
Yeah, we are going to have ranked play and tournaments and our leaderboard and achievements. Spectator mode is coming to enable better streaming. Oh, and if you want to play it now, there's a link tree on our Twitter page that has the download to the one map demo. And that's also on the front page of our website as well.
yep, lots of cool stuff coming with NFT collectibles. You'll have your weapons, customizable skins, even maps.
Maps.
Yeah, lots of
Yep.
fun stuff coming.
New maps for gameplay.
And I think I've pinned a couple of bits to the top. So I found someone's done a 60-second intro video that people probably find really interesting to find out about the game.
It is a really
And-
good 60-second intro video. We all
And then-
talked about how good it was and how impressed we were. Actually,
100%.
it was a discussion topic.
And then I've also pinned your latest community update to the top for anyone who wants to go have a look at that. One thing that you guys definitely have done well is generating a lot of interest and kind of building the community. And there was a lot of interest in even just taking part in the tournament. So kind of stepping away from the gameplay itself, how are you finding building a community and kind of attracting players right now? Because it does seem a little tough out there at times.
Yes, it is. But we are super lucky that we have been at this, a while. The game is almost ready. It's playable. We were able to be like, here is our demo. That was our big we'd already had an alpha and a beta, but those were small. They were, a week or two at a time. The word didn't really get out that much. The last one, our beta was in October, November. So we put out our demo that anybody can play without a game account. And that really kind of kicked it off. That and then our mint, our avatar mint, our free mint that's coming up. Those are the two things that we've focused on using to show people what we've got and get things out there.
Yeah, we kind of did it the backwards or the opposite way that early stage other projects would. We made sure we had a game first. We went in with a product and with a fun game, and once we knew that obviously it takes a while to get in the first few people's hands, but we knew once we got the game out there, people would be receptive to it. People would have fun. It's something they can actually play with. We said, if you like it, please tweet, please stream, please have fun, please invite your friends. And I think people just really responded to the fact it's real, you know, and we've been seeing that just escalate and escalate over the past while, and we're just super happy.
And I think kind of what you mentioned there, sort of encouraging people to share their thoughts in the streaming side of it. You have been very good at retweeting stuff. I think every time I've seen someone do a thread or do a video, you've been very good at kind of retweeting it back out to everyone, which obviously I'm biased, but I think it's a great thing for projects to be doing, because in the end, it's kind of free marketing for you, especially some of the ones where I know Apex did a very detailed thread, and I think Sparks has just done one as well that kind of shows the whole project. So it's a bit more, I don't know, believable than if you guys had just said it.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, no joke, we read everything, and all the friends, all the feedback, is super appreciated. Yeah, you know, I don't know if Alicia sleeps or when she sleeps.
I do not.
You
I
do
do
not.
not. And you know I do not. You know
Yeah,
that I
so-
basically work like 16 hours, 16 to 20 hours a day at this point. If anybody knows the CEO of Sino Global Capital, Matty Sino, is his handle on Twitter, he is a relentless force of nature. And if we're not on top of things, he will literally go through like DMs and like look for like the smallest reference to that might even be us referring to us and be like, Alicia, fix. You know,
yes. Yeah.
Dermot, what is this? He's basically our Eye of Sauron. But, that's okay.
What's the good eye of Sauron?
Yeah, the good kind, just all-seeing and intimidating.
Yes, the good kind of all-seeing eye.
Sauron was good.
It's not like a dystopian podcast or anything. What is that one? I'm thinking.
But we love the threads, we love the support, and we love the feedback, and we just love reading it. Yeah.
No, that's good. One thing that I have been thinking, 'cause we've just been talking about the game in a Discord, 'cause someone's about to download it. We're still at the stage of downloading a random zip file from a Google Drive. What's the plans for when you kind of launch proper? How are people going to be getting the game?
Yeah, we're still early. No, this is our it's our pre-release unoptimized version. So it's in a zip. In the future, it'll be a more optimized binary. We'll be partnering with some game launchers, which we're already in the process of doing. We're looking at working with creating our own platform, our own game launcher as well. So what you're seeing is the dev build, but it's going to be more optimized and streamlined in the future for sure.
Yeah, we're already listing on. Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of DMs. We're already listing on Fractal and Elixir, and then a number of other places too that I can't quite announce yet. And like Dermot said, we'll have our own website and platform that will eventually be built out to have marketplace auctions, staking, NFT purchases for some of our NFTs, auctions, lots of other features. So it won't be quite as terrifying as click this link on our website or on our on our link tree. We're getting there. We're just not. We
promise
there
you,
yet.
it's a legit zip. We promise. Just a game.
No, we were saying that you're very trustworthy. Someone was just saying, who's this random Corey who wants me to download a zip file from Telegram?
Exactly. It's not at all weird and terrifying for everybody I interact with on a daily basis to be like, here kid, download this on your phone and don't be able to use it.
I was changing from the internet, download this zip. But it's fun, I promise.
It's like a white van and candy, video games.
But no, so I do like to hear that you're going to be going a bit more with a launcher, just to put people. To be honest, loads of people have downloaded it, so you've obviously got trusting voices.
Right. Well, we're already on Elixir.
No, we'll be a bit safer.
We're already on Elixir, okay. So a lot of people have downloaded through there because they just Don't want the confusion, don't want the risk. But yeah, we're absolutely going to be we're going to be listed in a number of places, including our Launchpad partner.
For sure, yeah.
And then we're going to drift slightly deeper into Web3. You mentioned NFTs. How are these going to tie into the game? Kind of, because I know when I've played, there's characters and weapons. Are they involved in the NFTs?
I don't think we can say, can we, Dermot? Not until the thing comes out that they're working on with the thing.
No,
Okay.
it's so
They're
cliche that there's like
they're
there's alpha that we can't
related.
drop, but I promise it's
Okay,
good.
okay. I'll monologue, and then
Okay.
we'll see like how it how it goes.
All I'll say is our team is fantastic. We have a background in animation, anime development, world building. Our lore is exceptionally good, I believe, and all will be revealed over the next few weeks.
Okay, so my only thing is when I reviewed the game, there were different levels of weapons, and I would be concerned if you bought your way up the levels rather than something to do with gameplay, because you start drifting into more of the pay to win kind of area. Was going to be my only short monologue.
Yeah. Again, some of these, some of these will be tinkered with and optimized over time. In general, there's loot loot boxes would be random, and there's other ways to level up. There's the character rank, tournament rank, stuff like that. There's a lot of kind of things we can tweak with to make it fair, and we're still testing some stuff out, but that's something on our radar for sure.
No, that sounds good. I'll just remind people that feel free, if you've got any questions for Turn Spaces, you can come up. We have had some comments in the bottom. This is amazing. I'm going to get whitelist for joining Space. And there's a new comment. Want to try the non-demo challenge at Tearing Spaces, and that's from Kobe Streams. So I don't know what that means. Maybe that means something to you guys.
We drop a lot of we throw down a lot of chicken feet. We drop a lot of gauntlets. So I need to check specifically.
This might be. He might want the tournament build that.
Yeah,
that we
maybe
give out
while
here
we
and
were
there.
talking, somebody, Matthew has tweeted.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be like, guys, FYI, whitelist if you, do pull-ups from your balcony. I don't know. Who knows?
Or if Alicia sighs exasperatedly 17 times.
Yeah.
Start the counter. Every morning, Matt basically throws a grenade at me, and I have to put the pin back in before the day is over. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is one of those.
Competitive competitions, hence battle racing. Yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah.
But more concrete stuff. We're looking at doing a lot more tournaments, and we're partnering for a lot of tournaments. So there'll be lots of opportunities for people to play in formal tournaments as well.
No, that sounds really good. We did have someone request to come up, but they seem to have vanished from the space. So if that was you, come back, because I got a notification that you wanted to speak, and then you vanished. So either come back or you'll miss out. I'm trying to think if there's any more. I do struggle sometimes when I've played the game, because I've got a perfect picture of how the game runs in my head.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Which is your favorite hero when you've been playing?
Murder Bunny. I'm a Murder Bunny girl.
Murder Bunny is good. I like. Oh, there's so many good ones, man. I like Brolin. I guess I've always seen her as the first and one of the OG. I mean, they're all released the same, but she rings a certain bell, I guess. It's the aesthetic. It's the sassy jungle vibes. I think that's the thing about our characters. The more we kind of release and go into the lore, I think people will definitely find their favorites, and different characters will resonate with different people. I'm a Brolin jungle goblin myself.
No, thanks for your opinion, Demo. You're wrong. It's Murder Bunny. So thanks for playing.
I didn't want to say the same thing, but it's tough to argue against that.
You mentioned the law, and people who've heard me before, I always am a sucker for law. What's the plans for kind of how that'll be weaved into the game style, or is this something that will maybe come out a bit more in some of the other game modes you've mentioned for the future?
More is going to come out very soon in a very fun way, and that's
Okay,
all. Okay.
I like
It.
fun, so I will
Yeah.
trust you on a fun way.
Yeah.
I'll see if any more questions for tearing spaces. What's the next thing that people can get involved with tearing spaces while we wait to see if anyone's got any questions?
Today we have our movie night every Tuesday. We have spaces on Thursdays. You can sign up for the crypto enabled beta right now. Also, that link for that Google form is in our link tree. Let's see. You can try to get on the whitelist. You can wait for our mint. We might be making an appearance in person somewhere at a convention, but I wouldn't know anything about that yet. What else, Dermot? What am I forgetting?
Again, random gauntlets being thrown.
I
I believe
know, I
we're
know.
play. There's cosplay is mentioned.
Oh yeah,
FYI, just
yeah.
follow us and get involved. There'll be
Matt's
stuff to
got a
do.
cosplay contest
Yes.
happening. Yep.
There's always fun stuff. We love vibing with the community, having fun events. There's always ways to get involved. Just follow us, and um, there's always something new.
At this rate, you're going to be teasing spaces rather than tearing spaces with all these cheeky little teasers going on.
I
We did have
know.
someone request again, and they disappeared. I'm not sure if maybe the space is having their life or something. But no, it's been great hearing about the project. Welcome to stay loitering around. It'd be very appreciated. If you want to go back to sleep, you're allowed. Alicia,
Oh.
you have to stay. But no, it's been great hearing about the project. If anyone does get any questions in the meantime, like while we're talking to the other two, just use the bubble at the bottom and we'll circle back round if we get any more time. Definitely worth going to check it out. Definitely worth jumping in Discord. There's lots of bits in there to do with trying to get whitelist. I hear feet pics is a good one. So if you want to send
Yeah.
a mate
That's,
feet pics, that would
thanks for
be the
that.
best way.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
The evolution
I
of
don't.
me.
I don't. I don't. I don't do that. Thank you.
But no, it truly has been great chatting, and thanks for coming and spending the time with us to tell us about the game. I really enjoyed playing it, and I would definitely be keeping an eye out for the next builds and the next tournaments kind of as they go through.
Thank you.
New demo tomorrow. New demo tomorrow fixes some big bugs and a little bit of gameplay improvements and things like that. I can tell people that. We'll announce it tomorrow, but yeah.
Oh, that
There will
sounds
be a
good.
new
Okay,
demo.
someone has requested again. Let's see if it lets them up again. So Kenzie Brown. Let's see. Okay, they've vanished again. I don't know. It looks like we're not going to get people up to ask questions. I don't know what the space is doing. But we're on a tight ship, so we'll end it there. Maybe we'll get Kenzie Brown back up if Twitter Space lets anyone come back up. But no, thanks again for chatting. Everyone in the audience, if you've seen anything you like, make sure to go and follow. I've pinned things to the top. Welcome again to Watch Your Game, episode 30. This week we have just spoken to Tearing Spaces, and I realised that my tag missed off your E in the name, in the title. That's annoying. And we've still got Double Jump and LowLifeForms to talk to. I'm Gaspode. I host stuff and do content stuff, but we've got 2 more projects to get to, so we'll jump back through to them. Oh, he's requested again. Let me try one more time. And if not, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Oh, no, it looks like it's doing it. Looks like it might be doing it. Kenzie Brown. Oh, no, he's vanished again. Oh, no, he's it. Kenzie Brown, have you got a question for Tearing Spaces? Oh, no, he's gone again.
You guys,
Can anyone see him?
Spaces over here.
Oh, he's back again. Kenzie Brown, do you have a question for Tearing Spaces?
Gem, appreciate you for letting me speak on the space. So, I'm a gamer, and I'm enjoying the space. I enjoy your conversation, and thanks for having me up here. I just wanted to say hi to everyone, and I want to ask if I'm gonna get a whitelist as one of the speaker of this space. Yeah.
I
Well, I don't know what to do with that one. That's
I
over
don't,
to you guys.
I don't,
Pretty
We
I
can
don't know
bold.
just
what to do.
Yeah.
we can giggle uncomfortably and be and I can be like, that's not up to either one of us. So Dermot and I do other things. We have
Yes.
a fantastic team that does whitelists and
Okay.
spaces coordinations and things like
For
that.
whitelist info,
So
hop in the Discord, and you'll
I'm not
see
the
ways to
I'm not
best
the feed
contribute.
pick
Yeah.
recipient you're looking for.
Um,
Okay, Kenzie, there's
But
your answer. If you jump in Discord, and they have plenty of little things going on there for the whitelist. But no, thanks
plenty
for
of
coming up and
opportunity.
saying hi.
Yeah, and thanks for support. Appreciate it.
thank
Cheers, Kenzie.
yeah.
Okay, and with that, we will now head over to Double Jump, who we have previously talked to, but I think we've got plenty of new faces. So, Double Jump, who are you, and what's your game?
Hey guys, so I'm Nat. I head up the sort of community and partnership stuff over at Double Jump, where platform royale, race to finish slash slowly turning into partially like an elimination style competitive game. We're available on Magic Eden and Elixir. We've been around since I want to say like Feb of this past year. We minted our collection of jumpers. You can think of them as skins back in May, and we've been progressing and building since, at least, yeah, it's been around a year now. And yeah, we've been sort of throwing a few competitions, some tournaments here and there for various communities. I can see some familiar names in the chat here. And it's been a really cool, interesting experience so far. Releasing more and more maps as things progress. Some more game modes in the works as well. So it's really interesting to hear Dermot and Tearing speak about things that they're working on the tournament space. Would love to have a dialogue with you guys, how your experience with Elixir has been. Sometime separately, I guess. But yeah, no, it's been really interesting so far to get to know a lot of different members in the gaming space here, sort of across the spectrum. So something that we've been seeing, at least anecdotally, is that there's a lot of interest for the style of competitive gameplay, as well as some degree of casual, more quote unquote casual gameplay. So one question that we've been sort of trying to answer or figure out for ourselves is, where do we want to lie in the spectrum? So in terms of when you ask like, what's your game, there's the immediate answer, which is like, we're supposed to be a chaotic sort of chaotic racing game, but I think chaotic implies that it could be really sweaty and competitive, but it could also cater to maybe a slightly more casual audience. And that's something that we've been sort of trying to answer for ourselves, solve for ourselves, as well as integrate a lot more community feedback as we sort of think through our maps and the structure of the game itself. And yeah, that's basically a sort of a high level overview of what we've been thinking about. And yeah, happy to dive into any of these sorts of topics.
No, yeah. So I've had a chance to play, so I enjoyed it. I think I played a bit with Spike in the Content Creator Cup, and then I joined one of your community nights. For those trying to picture finish first racing, what it is, there's a couple of different ones that I played. I played one where it was kind of jumping between moving platforms and trying to get to the end, but also pushing people over. There was one where you stood on platforms and then they slowly disappeared and you fell through to another level. And if you kept falling through, you died.
Yeah.
That was that. To be honest, I think that was probably my favorite one as well. There was another one as well where you kind of. I'm really not painting a very good picture. I've got a picture in my head and I just can't articulate it.
You have these memories, yeah, for sure.
And I think I definitely enjoy the fact that you can push each other over. I'm a big fan of doing that. But no, I can see they're trying to find the kind of where you stand, because it could definitely be competitive. So when we did it for the Content Creator Cup with Spike, I definitely suddenly felt competitive, even though I'd played it before, and it was more party style, kind of a bit more fun, a bit more laid back. Obviously, still slightly competitive because I'm always going to be slightly competitive. But no, it'd be interesting to see kind of how that comes in with game modes and maps as well, because I think they all definitely had a different feel, kind of as you were playing through them. If you were kind of one thing that is problematic, maybe with the style of game, is there's quite a few kind of that are doing similar. I've enjoyed playing yours a bit more, to be honest. But there's definitely a draw on the audiences in different directions. What kind of sets you guys apart, and how are you trying to make sure that there's always people that you can play with, because playing it on your own doesn't really work?
Yeah, I mean, something that we've been sort of testing around is trying to align ourselves with some gaming guilds, because that's been sort of an untapped resource, generally speaking, when it comes to not only like general community building, but also trying to understand what what type of games people want. I mean, Spike is in the audience. Hi, Spike. And one of the first sort of things that we talked about with him is he's a successful content creator in the space, but a lot of things that something you mentioned is that he plays a lot of shooter based games, right? That's something that he was sort of focused on back then. This was I think this was in the summer when we spoke. It was maybe not necessarily a focus. I don't want to speak for him or put words in his mouth or anything like that, but from my understanding is that it's easier to or maybe more appealing to a viewer based organization, where if it's like an arena type of thing. So when it comes to bridging ourselves to an audience, um, because we're not that type of game, the game has to be visually stimulating. There has to be those like aha moments where as a player you're discovering like new paths, new opportunities for yourself to set like future advantages for yourself, or scratch off that extra bit of time that puts you ahead of someone else. And I think that creating those types of opportunities in a map where it's sort of built into the experience allows people to you know to revisit the game, and then bring other their friends. Like they show them these paths, or maybe they want to show off their special times, or that sort of thing. So within our community, we have a sort of a subgroup of these competitive quote unquote racers who are trying to scratch off literally fractions of a second off of their times on different maps. Um, and I think that in order to grow that aspect, we need to have more interesting maps. We need to sort of make sure that that experience is easily replicable through our maps, and that comes down to really excellent game design. And that's something that we've been investing really heavily in. And right now, I think that we have sort of the bench to do that. Where I think we're in a much better position now than we were a few months ago. The amount of output has been, at least on the back end, things that you guys don't really get to see, is something that we've been sort of keeping a little bit on the down low, which is sort of a shame. But it'll eventually yield itself into something that, or an experience that hopefully is really appealing to a broad amount of people. And what that means is kind of like what I was saying earlier about catering to competitive audiences through like a ranking system or like an elo system, and allowing for that type of progression. um, and then also like, okay, I want to play like a fun chaotic game with my friends in like a private party, or even like a public party that allows other randos to join in uh, who are also just looking for like a more casual experience. And then on a third pillar of that is like these organized tournaments that we're really excited to start bridging towards the community. Fortunately, that's been sort of put aside on the side, because we really want to push out these new maps that we've been working so hard in developing that we're kind of in a heads down develop mode right now. But we're also extending sort of invitations to the broader community. So literally anybody here to test those maps, give us feedback, and really integrate that type of feedback on like a really make it a really iterative process. Because at the end of the day, because we're in a decentralized space, we want it to be as open communication as possible to our community, the members of the community, and the people eventually, hopefully, people who become active users, active players, who will be like we want people to be as active as they are like playing as they are contributing to the idea of what double jump is supposed to be. I realize that's like a really long answer to your question, but that's kind of my like sort of mind frame as an answer to your question.
No, I definitely think that makes sense, because with the community is always important, and obviously everyone's always going to bang the community drum, but it is very important, especially for this style of game. So I think kind of some of the stuff you're saying about people making up their own game modes within it and stuff definitely is a kind of a key way of making sure people are engaged. Looking at the profile, you've also managed to sell out your original collection, so you must have a good kind of amount of people already kind of interested. What was it that has sold out, and kind of how did it tie into the game? Because I've just pinned, for anyone interested in kind of seeing the game, I found a random TikTok, I don't know who it could be from, where they're dressed as a chicken and they absolutely stomp everyone else. So at the top there is a TikTok of me winning. But how did the NFTs tie into it?
Yeah, so I mean, the idea is that these NFTs will eventually be your skin in the game. So like the skins that you use in the game are not the ones that are available as NFTs. And I don't want to say yet or at all, because we haven't made a core decision on that. But the NFTs that we've sold will eventually be the skins that you are able to import into the game, as well as use the ones that are sort of offered, quote unquote, for free. So right now, like if you log into the game on Magic Eden or Elixir, you can pick between like the standard sort of like, I call them like the little kid jumper, which is just like the kid with the long hair and the t-shirt, the chicken, or the robot. But we have 4 other sort of skins that are sort of our original collection, original jumper collection. In the future, there will be more like different skins that are perhaps tied to other communities that we partnered with. But right now, our core sort of development hasn't necessarily been the sort of Web3 component. It's really been, let's deliver like an excellent product that people want to be a part of. There will always be a sort of free to play option for our game. Like we don't believe in gating like this experience behind NFTs or tokens or anything like that. It's always been like a like we wanted to complement the experience and not make it, I guess, like at the end of the day, like we're developers, right? We're creating trying to create as much of a fun experience as possible. And until we've sort of unlocked that aspect of, of like removing as much friction from that experience as we can, right now we're just trying to push out like a lot of different features, a lot of different games before asking people to, give us their money. Of course, we did that when we minted the collection, and that's allowed us to develop as we are right now. And I think that in terms of the amount of progress that we've done over the last year sort of speaks for itself. And we're really happy with the state that we're in right now. But I think in terms of our like long-term goal, we're not close to that. I think that there's a lot of work to be done, but we're sort of in a good situation where we've had these events with a lot of different communities, and the main question is, okay, well, when can I use my NFT in game? And it feels bad to say soon, TM, but that's sort of the answer. Yeah.
No, I think that's interesting. I think it is always a bit tricky, like being able to give exact dates. Soon TM is definitely used an awful lot in the space, but I think sometimes it's all you have. I think if you give a date and then have to keep pushing it, I think that always comes across worse for people than an unspecified date. Obviously, you can't play that game for years, but it definitely works for a period of time, kind of while you're building it out. I'll just open it up. So if anyone does have any questions for Double Jump, feel free to come up, or down in the bottom right, you can ask questions. We will be going to LowLifeForm next, but they've both just disconnected. So I've sent some messages to see where they're at, just to make sure. Kind of, you've mentioned soon at TM, but what are the next things in the roadmap that you've got going on, and kind of what are the community kind of mainly excited for?
Yeah, actually, so I see Final Frontier. He was on a space that I was on earlier today. Hi. But so when I say soon TM, obviously that that kind of bridges a lot of different things. Something that we're really excited about is the rollout of our new sort of map set. Right now we have 4 maps out, and one sort of on the back burner that needs to be reworked, I think. But basically, we've brought back this idea of community testing. So if anybody was around while we were minting and in the start of our Discord, etc., we had this thing called Jump Testers, which was essentially like a community-led testing or play testing group. Excuse me. And basically these core members were able to play test a lot of different parts of the game, see different maps, provide us as much feedback as possible, and then we'd integrate it as developers. Like we iterate on it on a daily basis, like, and just basically just grind out and see like, okay, like what if we integrated this, what if we combined it with that, and so we're sort of bringing that back on a weekly basis with 3 or 4 new maps at a time. And then once that next phase of this Jump Testers is done, then I think we're going to do a big block of new maps. So it'll bring our total map count to around 16, which we're really excited about. And people have been really, really pumped up. Like, people are always really excited to test new maps, see new content. And I think right now also we're also in a pretty good spot when it comes to developing different game modes. So we released, a few weeks ago, we started our new round system, which is, you can sort of think of it with the same model or a similar model to Mario Kart, where you race. Some people get eliminated. You accumulate points, and based on your time and your ranking with each race, and then obviously at each stage there's a top 3 with and then you've accumulated, like, let's say you get 25 points in your first place, you get 18 points if you're second place, and then 10 points if you're third place. I'm making those numbers up. I actually forget what they are off the top of my head, but you get the idea. At the end of the 4 rounds, you get a total amount of points, and then that gives you like, okay, like who won, who got X amount of points. So we sort of tested it with like a mini tournament last week, and it was with another community, and it was really successful, which sort of helped us validate a lot of things that we were testing and thinking sort of internally. So, and that translates to, okay, like why don't we let more people in, and see how much, like, let's play test the same system but with our new maps, and then iterate on that over and over and over and over again. Because at the end of the day, like, if the community is the ones playing the game, and we're disseminating it to the broader universe, I guess, then we need to integrate their voice as much as we can, because or else you're kind of defeating the entire purpose of having an active or vocal community in the first place, right? Like, what's the point of that if they can't have a voice and or like have some kind of like role in that process? That's something that was really important to us from the start. So yeah, that's kind of like what's next for us.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and I think that's the way that for a game mode which like, obviously it hasn't got as many as FPSs, but it's coming a bit more popular for projects that are going into the space. I think listening to what people want is a key way to keep your community engaged and bring more people into the community. So I definitely think that makes sense for the way of kind of doing it. if anyone's got any questions, you can come up. I've checked through the comments and we haven't had any new questions. We had a few comments, but they're not particularly questions. Before we go to LowLifeForms, there was one last thing that I spotted on your profile, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. You've said you've been partnering with guilds and other things. Do you have any tournaments coming up?
So we do have a I've been calling it the Grand Tournament, but we're actually kind of trying to rebrand it into sort of something a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit more low key. But at the same time, it's going to be sort of the idea is that it's a 16 team tournament, and we've got 16 teams lined up, sort of across the Solana gaming space, as well as a couple of guilds here and there, as well as some content creators lined up, and then also like lots of really interesting prizes, and not only just gaming communities. We have got a couple PFP communities participating, as well as some content creators, their own communities themselves, creating a team and hopping in. So that's something that's sort of like a bit larger idea of something that we want to do on a monthly basis, and make it like a very smooth process. Obviously, when it's the first time doing something like that, it's a little bit on the difficult side, in the sense of, okay, so if you have 16 teams, you have 5 players per team. That means minimum 80 people, like 80 people who have like jobs, families, things that are not gaming related in their lives, and you're basically asking them for 1 to 2 hours of their life to play a game, right? Like that's a lot for us to ask, and the fact that they're interested in doing it in the first place means a lot to us as creators. But then when it comes down to it, you really have to find sort of a sweet spot of like, okay, well, how do we make it really interesting for everybody involved, and how do we keep people interested? So because of that, like, I think we decided to sort of keep our heads down and focus on creating as much really interesting content first, building out sort of the why, rather than the focusing on the how, if that makes sense. And yeah, so that's in terms of like larger scale tournaments. That's something that we're working on very actively still. But we do really like doing like the weekly or semi-weekly sort of one-on-one tournaments between our community and another community, pitting 2 communities against each other, and that's something that we've always found to be really fun and engaging. And obviously there's always like rewards tied up to it, and it makes things really hectic and really, really fun. Like we love chaos. It's something that we've always really enjoyed being a part of. So no set date on the next tournament, but we're once that happens, you'll be the first to know.
No, sounds good. And if anyone's listening and you're thinking you want to get involved in a double jump tournament, make sure to follow the account so that you can keep up to date with the next ones that come out, or you can get involved when they do any of the community nights, so you can give it a go yourself. I would recommend it. I enjoyed playing it when I gave it a go. You can see a few videos of kind of what to expect, but it was fun. And I think doing it with a group in Discord is definitely more fun, because when we played, we had plenty of shit talk going on, and that always adds to it, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, thanks for coming up, and thanks for giving us an update and sharing kind of how you guys have been going on and what you've been doing with it. Excited to see the grand tournament, which maybe we're going to low key not as grand. Definitely interesting to kind of see how that comes along and see how you kind of build out with the new modes and the new maps. I have pinned a few bits to the top for anyone interested, so keep an eye on that. If you'd like to hear, make sure go and give Double Jump a follow. For those who've just joined us, welcome to What's Your Game episode 30. We've heard from Tearing Spaces and Double Jump so far, so thanks both of you for coming and giving us your time to explain your projects. We are going to be going to LowLifeForms next. Anything that you want to see or ask, the stage is open, so make sure to come up with your questions, or you can use the speech bubble in the bottom right. I'll be pinning stuff to the top, so keep an eye on there kind of as we go through it. But LowLifeForms, who are you and what's your game?
Hey, welcome, and thank you for having us here, Gaspode and fellow gamers which are here and gaming projects like Turing, Double Jump. Really awesome to see you guys here, and really happy to be here, part of the Web3 gaming family. So, guys, we're gonna start off in explaining what is LowLifeForms. Now, LowLifeForms is an FPS looter shooter that has an alternative universe to FPS gaming, where we combine crime, sci-fi, and magic. The idea of, you could say, the game or the reasoning behind it is we wanted to create something unique and different in the space compared to a typical cyberpunk FPS shooter, or I would say a Call of Duty type of FPS shooter. We wanted to combine some new interesting things that haven't been done before in the FPS shooter industry, especially in Web3. Behind the project, we have a team, I would say, all around USA in terms of locations, small studios, and in the European Union. The team behind it is people like Call of Duty developers in the space, such as Rodriguez, which is the person which invented the Call of Duty engine that we use today to play our games, like in Call of Duty and so on. He's basically the CTO of our company called Vital XP, and with his help, we've been designing the current engine for the game, the characters, the use case behind them, how to play them, their interactions, and the gameplay. I am the community manager of the project, and I apologize that our founders could not make it today, as they are also on important meetings. But I'm going to give you the maximum amount of juice that I can and possibly can explain. To know more about us in detail, we're people which have been building games in the past, having connections in Microsoft, Halo, Quake, Call of Duty, esports. Most of the team actually has the Web2 gaming experience of getting people into games and converting them to Web3. Our current PR, his name is Joe, and he's the person which has experience of getting people interested in projects, especially in Web3. We see the success of the project not coming, you could say, almost on Mint, but post-Mint, where we're going to be driving conversions and people coming into the game. We also have very strong connections with other projects such as Sandbox, Solana, and Polygon, which really like the idea of the game. Reason being why I said Polygon is because we're looking also to have an omni-chain approach towards our community to open new doors to new gamers and an ecosystem. That's all I could give to you guys right now. If I've missed something, just feel free to ask me anything about the game or so on, or even the community or project, and I will gladly answer it for you, Gaspode.
No, thanks for the intro. It sounds like there's a lot going on, which is always very exciting to hear. I'm trying to picture kind of what I'm doing as a gamer. So I log into the game, and it just on the profile it describes itself as modular, and you said it's more a looter shooter. So I log into the game. What kind of things am I doing? How am I looking through my character? Just so paint a little picture for me.
Okay, cool. So imagine the game Destiny 2. I think you played our Destiny even 1. The idea behind it is going to be a PvP and PvE environment. For starters, we're starting off with the PvP environment just for gamers to get along with the idea. Reason being is our PvP environment starts off first because it's actually part of our lore, where users, basically prisoners, get to fight against each other for our entertainment. We want to actually have a storyline when we introduce PvE, where people can actually fight against environmental enemies or NPCs that are that have some sort of storyline in the game or something like that. It will be on the combination of Destiny 2 with weapon customization and character customization. To put it in perspective, there will also be some storylines that you can play for. There are going to be some very unique characters which have their own story, and you can play for them. And we have around 21 species that will be able to be played as, and they'll have their unique speciality or ability, you could say.
No, that sounds good. And with it being, so you're saying PvP to start with because the prisoners are fighting for entertainment. I like the way of tying it in. How are you planning to is it going to be 1v1? How are you planning on keeping the servers populated with people, or are you planning tournaments, community nights? What's the plan to make sure there's people to play against each other?
So basically, this is going to come along the line when it's going to be creating. What we have is a very strong Discord community, and we've utilized the ideas of creating gangs in the Discord, which actually tied to the game. So gangs are going to be challenging each other for dominance, for leaderboard scores in the game. The idea is that they have this kind of hatred to each other, which is quite the motivation in multiplayer games like fighting another clan or so on. So you can imagine in such a way. We're of course going to have tournaments in the future like any other project would have. We do have esport connections, so that's not really something of a problem for us, especially the people which we're working with. Some of them are ex League of Legends esport professionals. They're even going to help us with some, I would say, contacts and partnerships and so on. Looking further down the line, community is kind of the key for us to grow bigger and especially have people playing the game. When we're looking at let's say, a normal map where you're going to be playing against each other, it can be a free-for-all, or it will be something like 4v4 with some respawn limits. The idea being is if we want to, it has to be a fast action shooter that just has something I would say unique to itself, or it's just fun to play for sake, because we know that people in the space are having time and trouble to actually play a game without losing a lot of time and actually still having some time to work. I cannot give you the full dimensions of the in-game because the founder isn't here himself. I just have the information that I am allowed to use still.
Yeah, that's fine. I understand difficulties sometimes when you know too much for what you can
exactly.
say.
Yeah, even the community has the issue like that.
and you mentioned the gangs, and I know from one of the DAOs I'm in, they've got one for.
Yes.
I've never said their name out loud. How can
Wolf.
I?
Yeah, Wolf. A Wolf DAO. I think that's what you are from.
Which one? Sorry.
The Wolf DAO.
Yes, that was the one I was thinking of. But so Wolves DAO, and then Balthazar.
There's actually 5 gangs which we have in the server. One is a gang called Pest DAO, the Liz Gang, and Gutter Killer Gang. They all have some very interesting names, sometimes created by the community, and they just literally recruit people which come into the server towards their gang. The rest have actually a strong DAO, but we do kill off gangs if they're just not participating and not adding any value toward the community, you could say. But I do know you're part of the Wolf Gang DAO because I have your role here.
Okay, that's good then. I think that's an interesting thing, having I think made up conflict is a good way of getting people more invested in it, especially if they're coming from kind of communities already together.
Yeah, and I can explain more in detail. The reason being is we're like really OG Call of Duty gamers, and we know what having a clan is. So sometimes we would really just like challenge other clans to go against each other, and there'll be just this eternal love-hate relationship where you could just say like really bad shit to them, and they will take it like, yeah, I still love you, bro. So I mean, there is this interesting story to it. But what we do is we utilize them because clans are quite important in any game, and having them pre-game really brings in a new viewing towards gaming together against other gangs, against other enemies. It's very important to have such a community already before the game, because what you can do is you can utilize them already then instantly into the game without creating a gang or looking for people to basically do it. Because there's a very big demand to just join gangs, and each gang has its own perks, its own utilities, its own, even like they just give to each other whitelists or stuff like this, you could say. So they even have very deep chats. Like I look at them always and I realize that people don't really chat a lot on the general chat, but in the gangs, it feels like they have their own home where They are part of like a family, and it's just very interesting to see such an integration that can have strong possibilities for the future of our game.
No, that sounds really interesting. I am intrigued to see, because you mentioned, what was it, guns, science, and magic.
Yes,
Is
yes.
there?
So,
Can you go into more details how those
yeah,
all tie
yeah,
together?
sure, sure. So this is going to be some alpha for people. I might get my head blown off, but who knows? So I don't. That's going to be all right. So what we're basically working on is the idea to make a difference. So basically our creative director, or not creative director, creative chief officer is a person which has been working on some award-winning films and actually also helping people to win Oscars. I can't really give out the names there, but most prominently places like Tatooine from Star Wars, Dune. And he had this idea that this was really something unique that hasn't been done before for a game to combine these type of aspects. And to put it in perspective, we are somewhere in the future where humans are being taken onto our planet, which we call Cygnus 9. And there's a prison called the Can. And this planet has some sort of energy that cannot be really explained to anybody. There are gods, there are entities, there are shamans, which we could say are a part of this world and a part of this planet. So to put in perspective, it's like combining a lot of entities into one, so there's a big lore behind it, not just something quite simple. We also don't really give the users a lot of information sometimes about the lore because we wanted to create a secretive or cryptographic style. They are still in phase one. We basically have a lore which we want to release along the way. So you can imagine, instead of releasing like a whole game with the whole lore, this lore progresses in time. They become a part of the lore. They feed off of the current information they get, and then they combine a spider web, you might say. But the interest of combining magic and science came from the movies the chief officer was working on, came from creating something unique to like space pirates, you could say. He wanted to use something unique in the space that hasn't been done before, and he created the name LowLifeForms because a lot of people which are in the prison are low lives. And we really try to play it as secretive as possible. But to put in perspective, magic is another thing there, or ability that people will be able to use as they gain the energy off of that planet or the prisoners.
No, I like that, and I like the idea of kind of slowly releasing the lore and it changing as people play. I know when I played Dungeons and Dragons, because I'm pretty cool, the best way sometimes to decide what was happening in the world is wait until people suggested what they thought was happening and just steal that. So I do like the idea of doing that.
It reminds me, actually, we had a really interesting chat with our community, and Tarek, which is not here today, unfortunately, he's the chief creative officer, released what criminal villain should we put into the game, or a crypto criminal villain? And like, you know what was the number one chosen person to be the crypto villain? Flippin' SBF from FTX, man. And now we're actually contemplating on putting in the community's output into the game and creating a side quest for like SBF or something like this or some crazy shit. So the community also has a part or a say in a few things that they want, usually Easter eggs. We try to implement Easter eggs throughout our project and even the website. And there is actually a great Easter egg that I think will make all of you laugh. And the reason being is we want to keep it like the old school things. I know Easter eggs have been quite forgotten, but it's quite the nostalgia feel of finding an Easter egg in a game, in a community, or somewhere on a website. And we try to bridge those gaps by just creating nostalgia and a nostalgic effect. That's one of the things we've learned from Call of Duty and from other games we've worked on is creating Easter eggs that people can relate to, like speak with other people or share it on social media. So if you want to find a good Easter egg, I highly recommend to anybody who's listening, go to our website and look at the investors, which is kind of the last row of the page. You're going to see a very interesting Easter egg if you click on a unique a unique link there, or a unique picture, you could say. It's quite funny. I'm sorry. If you have any other questions related to that, I'll answer.
No, I've got one more question, but I think my baby might be waking up. So 2 seconds. So what can the community expect, like the next big thing?
In terms of community, or what are the current plans? If you,
What's
sorry,
the next big date that's coming up? And I'll just be silent 2 seconds while I check on a baby.
No worries. The next, you could say the big date is coming right now at the end of February, which will be our mint date for the Genesis 1 playable characters. There, of course, the people which are holders will also have airdrops to unique items that we cannot still disclose as of now, and a certain diplomat keys which have specific unique use cases which are reducted as of now. You can imagine them as keys that open doors to new levels, new horizons within the game and within the story. And I think you just want to check on a baby, but I'll just wait for that. If you guys want to just quickly have a good laugh, let's see if anybody can find it here. I think he just went for a while away.
Yeah,
no worries. I understand.
I'm gonna have to bounce, unfortunately. It's been great talking to everyone. Thanks for everyone for giving us the time. A baby is very upset, so I'm gonna have to go and deal with that.
No worries.
Definitely remember to go and check everyone out who's been listened to. It's been great hearing from you all. Looking forward to LowLifeForms coming out and more from Tearing Spaces and Double Jump. I will be going live later on, hopefully when the babies calm down, to do a tournament on Gods Unchained, which will also be my first time playing it. But I really appreciate everyone taking the time to come and speak to us and everyone coming to listen. And I will catch everyone in a bit. But thanks all.
Thank you again, Gaspode.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaspode.